All right, hello everyone, Mr. DVB here. It has been quite a while since I have done anything really on this channel. You guys know I don't upload much anymore. It's been like 6 months, I think, since my last actual video. But today I am going to be going over the 2024 Oscar nominations. They came out today, and as I've done in the previous years, just going over what I think will win and what I think should win, because those are often, two different things. The Academy has movies that they, tend to go for sometimes. But this year, I think what I want to win is probably going to win, as far as at least some of the bigger categories go. But yeah, that's what this is all about, just kind of going over the categories. I already have seen what's nominated, so this isn't really a reaction video where I'm like, seeing what's been nominated for the first time. This is just more so going to be like what I think will win and should win. Hey Darren, how's it going? Good to have you here in the stream today. Let me know what you think should win when we go over these categories here. But yeah, I'm just going to be starting, I'm on Hollywood Reporter's site right now, just going from the bottom, working my way up. Best Pictures at the top, so that's why I chose this site. But yeah, first category up then is going to be Best Visual Effects. This is a category that I always have a lot of fun with because, it tends to be movies that I've seen. So the nominees this year, there's The Creator, Godzilla Minus One, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1, which was just recently renamed Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning, and then Napoleon. So this list, I knew for a while that Oppenheimer wasn't going to be on here. This was sort of confirmed a while back. Of these nominees, Creator has incredible visual effects in my opinion, and especially when you take into account that movie had a fairly low budget compared to a lot of big budget Hollywood movies. It was an $80 million budget, compared to films that cost like 200 plus, and it has much better effects than most movies, I would say. Godzilla Minus One, kind of same thing, low budget movie, about $10 million, and really great visual effects. So awesome to see that make the list. I was super happy to see Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 because I honestly didn't think it was going to make it for some reason. A lot of other lists or predictions, I saw Indiana Jones on there, and I'm a big Indiana Jones fan, but I would not have understood that, to be honest. I don't think Dial of Destiny had bad visual effects, but I don't think they were amazing either. There's definitely just lots of moments where, the de-aged Harrison Ford at the start didn't look very good in my opinion, or other moments where it's very clearly not Harrison Ford doing the stunts and there's like a weird CGI face over top, or kind of iffy green screen. So Guardians making it, I'm very happy about. Mission Impossible was a bit surprising. That's one that I kind of wasn't really thinking about, but that's great to see it make it on here because I think it had fantastic visuals. And then Napoleon, which I also think looked great as well. So there's nothing on here that I actually think is undeserving of being on here. What I think should win, though, is The Creator. I think that should win personally, and that's also what I'm going to go with for what I think will win. Out of the other ones, Godzilla maybe has a shot. I'm not too sure, to be honest, but I'm gonna guess Creator's gonna win, and that's my personal pick as well for what I think should win, because I think that movie just looked incredible. And then also, you take into account they shot it on like a regular camera, like a $3,000 camera, not some like big Hollywood camera or anything like that. Super small team working on the movie, so very deserving. Next up, we have Best Sound. A lot of the same movies made it in here. We got Creator once again, Maestro, Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning, Oppenheimer, and Zone of Interest. I haven't seen Zone of Interest yet, so I can't really speak to the sound in that movie. But Creator had, really good sound. Maestro had excellent sound. The music and everything in that movie sounded amazing. Just very bassy and, very, I don't know what the word, but just like kind of, you feel like you're trapped in this sound bubble. You feel like you're there watching, those performances happen. Dead Reckoning Part 1, great sound once again. Oppenheimer and Zone of Interest. If there's anything here that I think should have been added, or anything that's not here that should have been added, it sucks that John Wick, didn't make it into any category. There's just certain, genres or stuff like that I feel like the Oscars tend to kind of just ignore. And John Wick, it's like, it was a phenomenal movie. Like, genuinely, I think one of the best action movies of all time. And the sound in it was incredible. The opening scene when he's just punching the thing in IMAX, it sounded like a gunshot going off in the theater. It was insane. I've never been in the movie where it was that loud before. So that was shocking that wasn't on there for me. But yeah, honestly, out of these picks, I'm going to guess... I'm going to go with Oppenheimer for my personal pick, and that's what I'm also going to guess is going to win. It could be something else. If it's not Oppenheimer, I honestly... I'm not too sure. I don't think it'll be Zone of Interest. Um, I don't think it'll be Mission Impossible. I feel like it's between Oppenheimer and like Creator probably. Maybe Maestro. I don't know. It's hard to say. I don't really know how the Academy picks these things sometimes, but I feel like Oppenheimer, just because it's probably going to take home a lot of the big awards. I feel like because it's nominated for sound, it's probably going to take that home as well. And I think it's deserving. I know there's a lot of people who complain about sound mixing in Nolan's movies, but I think Oppenheimer sounded phenomenal. Then we have film editing. We have Anatomy of a Fall, which, again, I have not seen, unfortunately. The Holdovers, which I thought was a fantastic movie. Killers of the Flower Moon, which was also great. Oppenheimer, and Poor Things, which I have also yet to see. Of these ones, I think the three that I've seen all were really good. I personally love the way that Oppenheimer was told from like a storytelling standpoint, the way it jumps back and forth between timelines and stuff. I feel like it just makes his movies more interesting and engaging. And I think it was done extremely well. So for me, I'm going to say Oppenheimer is what I think should win, and it's also what I think probably will win. Killers of the Flower Moon, I mean, I thought it was a great movie, but honestly, I think it was too long. I think 3.5 was kind of excessive, to be honest. I feel like that movie could have been like a good 40 minutes shorter or so. But I feel like, I feel like Oppenheimer is what will probably take home this award. All right, then we have production design. So for sets and everything like that, we have Barbie, which looked phenomenal. I thought they nailed the look of Barbie Land. Killers of the Flower Moon, Napoleon, Oppenheimer, and Poor Things. So of these nominees, I have seen all of them except for Poor Things. And my personal pick is probably Barbie out of the ones I've seen, but Poor Things looks phenomenal from what I've seen as well. So I honestly think it's going to be between Poor Things and Barbie. I could kind of see them going with Poor Things, to be honest. And I think that's totally fine. But yeah, my personal pick's Barbie for now, and then once I see Poor Things, maybe that'll change. But I feel like it's between these two. And if I had to make a guess, I'm gonna guess Poor Things. Next up, we have original score. We have American Fiction, which I literally saw last night, so it's very fresh in my mind. Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, Killers of the Flower Moon, Oppenheimer, and Poor Things. I don't know how Indiana Jones got in here, to be honest. I mean, at this point, I feel like it's just them handing another nomination to John Williams because he's John Williams. I mean, every single one of the Star Wars sequels got nominated. I don't think that they deserved it per se. Well, I think Force Awakens did. Last Jedi maybe, but Rise of Skywalker I don't think deserved a nomination back in the day. And same thing with Dial of Destiny here. I honestly thought the score for Dial of Destiny was kind of disappointing, to be honest. As a big Indiana Jones fan, there was no special theme for the dial in the movie. The Raiders of the Lost Ark has like a great score for the Ark of the Covenant, right? When you hear like that main theme, it's fantastic. When you hear the theme for the Holy Grail or even the Crystal Skull, right? They all have like really memorable themes for the artifacts. Dial had nothing. There was moments where I found the music was just dead, like the horse scene where he's riding through the streets and he goes into the subway. There's like literally no score there. It's just like this repetitive dun 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 dun. And so yeah, to be honest, I didn't like Dial of Destiny's score. I thought it was disappointing. So I'm kind of shocked it's on here, especially over much, much more deserving films like Across the Spider-Verse. I'm shocked that Across the Spider-Verse did not get on here, both for its score and for the original songs that were created for it. So yeah, Dial of Destiny being on here. Of these picks, though, Oppenheimer. I mean, very easily Oppenheimer will win. Or at least I think it will win, and it's my personal pick. I think it is completely deserved. That movie had easily the best score of last year, in my opinion. Can You Hear the Music is like phenomenal. Next up, we have original song. I don't really care about this category too much, but we have The Fire Inside from Flaming Hot. Haven't seen that movie. I'm Just Ken from Barbie, which was obviously like the most popular song. It Never Went Away from American Symphony. A Song for My People. I don't know how to pronounce it, unfortunately, but from Killers of the Flower Moon. And What Was I Made For from Barbie. Going off of the other award shows, it's gonna be What Was I Made For, and that would probably be my pick as well, to be honest. I heard that song so many times. It's kind of a sad song, but I feel like that is what will win, and I think it's deserving. That'll be the second Oscar win for Billie Eilish, for winning for No Time to Die previously. Yeah, my personal favorite, like what I think should have been on here that wasn't, is Am I Dreaming from Spider-Verse. that I think would have been my personal pick. Honestly, I wish that was on this list because I loved that song. I thought it was excellent. So that's disappointing to not see that made it on here. But yeah, of these ones, I'm gonna guess that it's gonna end up being What Was I Made For. Next up, we have makeup and hairstyling. We have Golda. I haven't even heard of that movie, to be honest with you. Maestro, Oppenheimer, Poor Things, and Society of the Snow. I think it's gonna be probably Poor Things, maybe. This one's kind of hard to say. Oppenheimer, I mean, they did a great job with the makeup. Like, if you just pay attention to the movie and the different timelines, very subtle the changes that like happen with Cillian Murphy over the time, but it's all so well done. I mean, I think they nailed the makeup, honestly. Maestro, really good makeup and stuff as well. Poor Things, I feel like, you know, because it's makeup and hairstyling. It's not just makeup, right? So I feel like because of that, you know, the hairstyling, I feel like Poor Things has more to offer. So I'm going to guess Poor Things for this, honestly. That's what I feel like will win makeup and hairstyling. Could be something else, but that's going to be my guess. As far as what was snubbed in this category, 100% Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. It literally has the record for the most prosthetics in a movie ever. So to not see it on here is quite disappointing. In general, I find that there's certain categories that comic book movies always get kind of snubbed for. Costume design and makeup and hairstyling. I think costume design, I would love to see more, you know, sci-fi movies, more fantasy films, whatever, get nominated. Because to me, I mean, it's costume design, it's kind of boring, to be honest. It's always just like historical films. Like, I love Oppenheimer to death, but it's like, I don't really... It doesn't stand out to me, to be completely honest, you know? Whereas, like, you watch these other movies where they have to make these crazy, wacky outfits for, like, different aliens or whatever. And I don't know. Some things, like Poor Things, I can understand making, like, all the dresses and everything like that. But yeah, it's just, like, movies like Oppenheimer or whatever. It's just, like, they're just suits. I don't know. And I don't want to, like, discredit, like, the work that the people who worked on the movie did, because obviously they did a great job in making it all historically accurate and everything. It's just... I wish that costume design got a bit more diversity in it when it came to the genres of movies that they put in there, because I feel like it's pretty much the same all the time. But the nominees, that being said, are Barbie, Killers of the Flower Moon, Napoleon, Oppenheimer, and Poor Things. Once again, I'm going to guess Poor Things for this one. I feel like Poor Things is going to take home like the makeup and the costume design type categories, production design as well. I feel like it's probably going to be the movie that wins those things. Could be Barbie as well. That would be well-deserved, but I'm going to guess Poor Things for this one. Next up, we have cinematography. We have El Conde, Killers of the Flower Moon, Maestro, Oppenheimer, and Poor Things. Have not seen this movie, haven't even heard of it until now. Killers of the Flower Moon, excellent visually. I mean, it's a very, very good-looking movie. Maestro, also fantastic. I mean, the way that they do shadows in that movie, like, just like the black and white scenes, everything is so perfectly lit and very well framed. So, like, say what you will about Maestro, I know a lot of people don't really care for the movie. I thought it was pretty good personally. I found that the story was kind of directionless for the first half, but the performances are excellent in my opinion, and visually it was great. So I think it's deserving to be in here. Oppenheimer, obviously, a phenomenal looking movie. All the IMAX shots, everything, just a fantastic looking film. And then Poor Things, which, I mean, I love the style that Yorgos has with, like, the lenses and everything. That kind of warped look, and the movie just has this very wacky style to it. I think, though, my personal pick and what I think will win is going to be Oppenheimer. I feel like that's just kind of how the season's gone so far when it comes to this award, and yeah, that's my personal pick, and that's what I think will win. I'm going to skip the short ones because I honestly don't watch them. Then we have International Feature Film. Again, I've seen none of these as of right now, but that being said, Zone of Interest kind of wins by default. It's the only one here to be nominated for Best Picture. I always find this category funny because if there's usually just one movie out of these ones that is nominated for Best Picture, and it's like by default going to be that. So, like for a couple years ago when, what was it? Parasite, you know, it obviously won Best Picture, but it was also like the only movie in international to be nominated for Best Picture. So kind of, again, by default, it just wins. I think last year or 2 years ago might have had the exact same thing with, I don't remember the name of the movie, but there was one movie. Same situation. Happens a lot. It's kind of funny. But yeah. Documentary, same thing. I don't really have any, thing to say on that. Animated feature. So we have The Boy and the Heron, which I have not seen. Elemental, which I thought was pretty good. I don't think it was amazing. It was like a solid Pixar movie. I liked it. It looked nice. The animation was great. I thought it had a nice little story, but I don't think it's one of Pixar's like best or anything like that. It was a probably like kind of middle of the level Pixar film. Uh, Nimona, which I've heard great things about, Robot Dreams, and then Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Easy win, in my opinion. I mean, it could be something else. It could be Boy in the Heron, but I think Spider-Man is completely deserving of this award. I honestly think it should have been nominated for Best Picture. But yeah, so for me, Spider-Man is the easy winner here, and it's what should win, in my opinion. That being said, I am surprised, and I think it's a bit of a snub that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles didn't make it in here, because Mutant Mayhem, because a lot of people really love that movie. I thought it was great, and I think honestly it stood out to me more than Elemental, probably. Then we have Writing Original Screenplay. So the nominees are Anatomy of a Fall, The Holdovers, Maestro, May December, and Past Lives. Again, I usually wait until the Oscars like are announced to find out what's nominated, obviously, and then I go ahead and watch the movies that I haven't seen yet. So there are ones I have not seen, unfortunately, that I will be catching up on. Past Lives, I can watch as soon as possible because it's on digital already, and same thing with Anatomy of a Fall. So I'll be checking out those ones very soon. This one's tough. Screenplay always is tough. Original screenplay. Anatomy of a Fall, Holdovers, Maestro. Okay, I don't think it's going to be Past Lives. I don't think it's going to be May December. I don't think it's going to be Maestro. I think it's between Holdovers and Anatomy of a Fall. From what I've heard recently, it sort of seems like Anatomy of a Fall is what might win. Just because it's the only one or just because I've only seen Holdovers. I have seen Maestro, but because Holdovers is the only one that I think might win that I have seen, I'm gonna say Holdovers should win. What I think is gonna win, it's tough to say. It's between these two. I don't really have a prediction, but from what I've heard recently, it kind of seems like Anatomy of a Fall might be what gets it. Then we have Adapted Screenplay. This one's a shocker this year because Killers of the Flower Moon was not nominated for Adapted Screenplay, which is baffling to me. I was shocked by that. American Fiction made it in. Great movie. I saw it last night. Loved it. I think the screenplay was phenomenal. It's a great drama and it's a great comedy. It blends the two so well together. And yeah, I thought it was fantastic. Barbie, listen, I liked Barbie a lot. I think it was a really fun movie. I don't think it is really an adapted screenplay. I mean, I know it's based on the toy, but to me, it's a completely original story. So I feel like it should be an original screenplay over adapted. And especially just, like, Barbie being in here, like, that kicks out Killers of the Flower Moon, which I think was a way more deserving movie to be nominated for screenplay than Barbie, to be honest. But it is what it is. Oppenheimer, Poor Things, and Zone of Interest. So of these nominees, my guess is going to be Oppenheimer, to be honest, at this point, because if Killers was in here, that was actually kind of my guess, but it's not. So I'm gonna guess Oppenheimer. That's what I think should win out of these ones. That or American Fiction, honestly. It could go like if American Fiction won, I would not complain. I would actually be totally fine with that. Poor Things I haven't seen, so I can't say. Same thing for Zone of Interest. But I haven't heard as much talk about those two when it comes to the screenplay as I have these three. If Barbie wins, I wouldn't be shocked. I would just find it kind of stupid, to be honest. I just don't think it deserves to win adapted screenplay for a couple of reasons. One, I just don't think it should be in this category. Two, I just don't think it's the strongest contender here. But yeah, I'm going to say Oppenheimer. That's my prediction. That's what I think should win. Then we have Actress in a Supporting Role. We have Emily Blunt for Oppenheimer, Danielle Brooks for Color Purple, America Ferrera for Barbie, which a lot of people were shocked by, Jodie Foster for Nyad, and Davine Joy Randolph for The Holdovers. America Ferrera getting in here, I don't really care, to be honest, because I feel like Davine Joy Randolph is the winner by default at this point. But America Ferrera being in here, it's like she's basically in there just for that one scene where she gives that monologue. If it wasn't for that monologue, she would not be in here, if you know what I mean. Like, otherwise, I think her performance was fine in every other scene. Like, she's good in the movie. I don't think she was bad or anything like that, but I don't think there was anything special about her performance besides that monologue scene. And so just to have her nominated but then not have Margot Robbie nominated for lead actress is kind of surprising in my opinion. So yeah, I don't quite agree with her being in here over, I think the one that a lot of people were talking about was Penelope Cruz for Ferrari. It's just kind of random that she would get nominated, but not Margot Robbie. If you're gonna nominate anybody from that movie, I think Margot Robbie's deserving of it the most. But yeah, Davina Joy Randolph for Holdovers. That's my pick, and that's who I think 100% wins at this point. Then we have actor in a supporting role. We have Sterling K. Brown for American Fiction, which that one was a surprise for a lot of people. But I saw the movie last night, and he was excellent in it, so I'm very happy to see that. Robert De Niro for Killers of the Flower Moon. Great performance. Robert Downey Jr. in Oppenheimer, excellent. Ryan Gosling in Barbie, and Mark Ruffalo in Poor Things. For me, I mean, Downey Jr. I think is the lock at this point. He's won pretty much everywhere else, and I think he is completely deserving of it. I thought he was fantastic in the movie. And yeah, so I think he'll be the winner. If it was Gosling, that would be the biggest joke of all time. That would be like on the same level as Jamie Lee Curtis winning last year for supporting actress, which was just completely stupid, because she wasn't even like there was also Stephanie Sue, I think was her name. I can't remember, but there was the other girl from that movie nominated for Everything Ever at Once, and she was 100% better, and Jamie Lee Curtis won. Sometimes the Oscars, it just kind of feels like, they just kind of, it's like a Hollywood circle jerk to a degree, but whatever. Yeah, supporting role though, like I said, I think Downey Jr. is taking it, and that is my personal pick. Then we have actress in a leading role. Again, this one was surprising for a lot of people because Margot Robbie didn't make it in. So the nominees are Annette Bening for Nyad, which I've heard is just a boring movie. I'll probably check it out because there's 2 performances nominated, but it's like, Lily Gladstone for Killers of the Flower Moon, Sandra Hüller for Anatomy of a Fall, or Hüller, I don't know how to pronounce that, Carey Mulligan for Maestro, and Emma Stone for Poor Things. My prediction is going to be Lily Gladstone. She's been winning pretty much everywhere else, and I think she was great in the movie. I also thought Carey Mulligan was fantastic in Maestro, honestly. Like, I know a lot of people aren't a huge fan of the movie, totally get that, but I was just, I don't know, I kind of thought that she would have, or I thought she was excellent personally, so if she won, I wouldn't complain. I don't think she will win, but I do think she was great. And then Emma Stone for Poor Things. Emma Stone for Poor Things is my second guess, even though I haven't seen it. It's my second guess, but my main one's gonna be Lily Gladstone. I feel like that's just the way it's going. And so yeah, I'm gonna say it's gonna be her, with Emma Stone as my backup. Then we have actor in a leading role: Bradley Cooper for Maestro, Coleman Domingo for Rustin, Paul Giamatti for The Holdovers, Cillian Murphy for Oppenheimer, and Jeffrey Wright for American Fiction. The big shocker here was Leonardo DiCaprio not being nominated. That surprised me quite a bit, because I thought he was one of the lock-ins, to be honest. But Coleman Domingo is the surprise one for me here. But he's a phenomenal actor, so I haven't seen Rustin, but I'll definitely check it out now. Bradley Cooper I thought was great in Maestro. Again, a lot of people kind of seem to be bashing on his performance or on the movie. I mean, yeah, it feels kind of like an Oscar baity movie, to be honest, but I thought he was great in it. I think he did a great job. He literally conducted that scene by himself, and so I feel like he is totally deserving of being nominated. Paul Giamatti was fantastic in The Holdovers, such a great actor and just like a really likable person in general, in my opinion. Cillian Murphy being nominated for his first time ever for Oppenheimer, great to see. And then Jeffrey Wright for American Fiction, who I thought was fantastic as well. So this category is great this year. I think it's honestly fantastic. My guess, it's really tough. It's between Paul and Cillian. I don't think anybody else stands a chance. I feel like the safe bet is Cillian, but I've seen Paul win at a lot of other places as well, so it's really tough to say. For who I think deserves to win, honestly, I'm like 50-50 between the two of them. I think Cillian was fantastic in Oppenheimer, but if Paul Giamatti won, I wouldn't consider it like a disappointing win. I would totally stand behind it. So either of these ones is going to win. My guess, I'm going to just stick with Cillian Murphy, but for who I think should win, I would be very happy with either of them taking it. Then we have Best Directing. We have Justine Triet for Anatomy of a Fall, Martin Scorsese for Killers of the Flower Moon, Christopher Nolan for Oppenheimer, Yorgos Lanthimos for Poor Things, and Jonathan Glazer for Zone of Interest. The shocker here was Greta Gerwig not getting in. I feel like probably over Jonathan Glazer, maybe? I'm not too sure who people would have wanted out. But yeah, of these picks, it's very set in stone who's winning at this point. Nolan is going to win for Oppenheimer, which is so great. I mean, he's such a phenomenal director. I mean, like there's other movies he totally should have won for in the past. So it's great to see him finally win, most likely. And it's also not a situation where he's winning just because he hasn't won in the past, right? Like I genuinely think Oppenheimer is potentially his best movie. My favorite is Interstellar, followed by Dark Knight, and then Oppenheimer's third for me. But I honestly think it might be his best movie in terms of just like overall. I feel like it's probably his best. That or Interstellar for me. And so, yeah, I think he is definitely, like, I think 95% chance he is winning it this year. Especially since, adapted screenplay didn't come in for Killers. So I don't think Scorsese will win. And I just don't think any of those other movies have the same amount of talk and hype behind them as Oppenheimer does. So I think... honestly, I feel like I should just say I know it's going to be Nolan, to be honest. I just know it in my blood. It's Oppenheimer winning Best Director, which is so great. So obviously that's my guess, and that's obviously my pick as well. And then finally we have Best Picture. So the nominees are American Fiction, fantastic. Anatomy of a Fall, I've heard great things. I have not seen it yet, but I will probably watch it tonight maybe. I've got like 3, I think, that I have on digital right now to watch. Holdovers, loved it, great movie. Killers of the Flower Moon, great. Maestro, really liked it, but probably one of the weakest entries here. Oppenheimer, obviously, I love it. Past Lives, Poor Things, and The Zone of Interest. Yeah, it's Oppenheimer. It's either Oppenheimer or Holdovers, but I feel like, Holdovers would have gotten nominated for... Like, if Holdovers wins screenplay, then maybe... if it doesn't win screenplay, I don't think it's getting picture, especially because it didn't get a director nom as well. So I feel like Oppenheimer is coming in hard, and I think it's taking Best Picture. And I think that is great. That's my pick as well. So there you have it. My second favorite of the Best Picture nominees is American Fiction. I thought it was fantastic. But yeah, so... I just want to do a quick tally here to see how many awards I think Oppenheimer will win. So I think it's taking picture, I think it's taking director, I think it's taking actor, I think it's taking supporting actor. Adapted screenplay I'm a little like back and forth on. I think it's taking cinematography. I think it's taking score. I think it's taking film editing. I think it's taking sound. I think Oppenheimer is going to be taking home about 8 or 9 Oscars, is my guess. So it's pretty much going to be like almost a sweep for Oppenheimer. And yeah, it sucks to not see it in visual effects, because I think if it was nominated, I think it would have won. And it's funny how that works, where it's like, basically it's not in here, so it's like it shouldn't win if it was nominated, but I feel like it would. I don't know how to explain how I feel about that. But yeah, there you have it. Those are the Oscar nominations. Very excited for the Oscars this year, mostly just to see Oppenheimer kick ass. But no, great. I think the awards this year are looking pretty solid. I think this is definitely one of the Oscars I've looked forward to more than usual in recent years, because sometimes they're just kind of I mean, 2020 or whatever, 2021, back when COVID happened, that was the worst Oscars I've ever seen in my life. It sucked. I mean, it was terrible. It was such a bad Oscars. I think this year should hopefully be pretty good. I can already hear all of the jokes, though, about Oppenheimer and Barbie, like the Barbenheimer jokes. It's going to be so annoying, because the Oscars are pretty goddamn cringe, to be honest, most of the time. But, yeah, there you have it. That is the nominations. The awards, I don't even know when they are. They're like March. Here we go. Yeah, Jimmy Kimmel hosting. Like... as I was saying, they're cringe. But yeah, they will be on March 10th, so a little over a month from now. But yeah, pretty cool. I'm excited for it. Can't wait to watch it when it happens. But yeah, there you are. Those are my thoughts on the 2024 Oscar nominations. Let me know in the comments. Nobody watches my videos anymore. I don't really care. I'm kind of like with YouTube these days, but every once in a while I like streaming and talking about stuff like this. Anyways,